I remember as I was training, when I was growing close to making a black belt, a first dan in Kung Fu, or black sash, as the Chinese would say. I was fighting with my greatest competitor. He was another advanced brown belt. And that rank took the longest. It was over 2.5 years to go from advanced brown to black belt. And we fought every single week. This guy outweighed me by close to 120 pounds. And through the training, we had learned how to push through, no matter what the obstacle was. I can remember when it would be my anniversary, my wedding anniversary, and I would tell my wife, let's do it the next day because I've got something really important in the arts that have to be done that night. So we would postpone things with my wife and children in order that I could put the martial arts first. I remember one weekend, my wife and I were sitting there talking, and she told me that she'd had a dream. And I've never really, given much credit to dreams. I mean, they're just dreams. My wife was very concerned about this. She said, Eric, she said, this was from the Lord. She said, I saw the high ranks at your school. And she said they were all standing in a circle with their arms linked one to another. And she said behind them, on the outside of the circle, I saw the wives and the mothers and the children. And it was as though the circle was growing tighter and the families were being pushed to the outside. After my wife shared with me this dream, and I could tell that it bothered her, tremendously, I became angry. And I didn't realize it then, but I do now. There was a division of loyalties. I felt like she was trying to pull me away from this thing that had meant so much to me, this art that had filled my life. And I became angry. I thought she doesn't understand. I began training even harder, determined not to allow anything to stand between me and the dreams of my youth. But it was I who did not understand, for I had allowed my own selfish desires to come between my wife and I. If only I had listened in faith and obeyed the word of the Lord, that life-giving word which is still speaking to each of us today. My son, give me thine heart, and let thine eyes observe my ways. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved his church, and gave himself for her. This is the battle that faces every man, to love his wife, his children, and to love all others above himself. In frustration and rebellion, I turned away from the one that was calling for my heart, not realizing that it is only through this surrender that victory and freedom are finally won. The night which I longed for finally came. 2 of us were to be recognized and awarded the title of disciples in Kung Fu. It was a private ceremony, one which only the high ranks were permitted to attend. And now, after training and teaching for 17 years in the martial arts, myself and the man whom I had first seen awarded the coveted black belt were now being honored with the rank equivalent of a 5th dan. I remember the Grand Master when he walked in to the discipleship ceremony. Myself and that gentleman that had made advanced brown belt that I'd fought in the beginning, both of us made disciple the same night. We were the first ones in over 30 years to make that rank. It was the equivalent of a 5th degree, a 5th dan. When the Grand Master walked in, he had this huge staff in his hand. And there was hair, horse hair, coming out of it, and there were carvings on the side of it. And after the ceremony, when everyone was gone, we asked him about that. Where did that come from? I'd been there for all these years and never seen that even in display. And he told me, he said that staff was used only when someone made a disciple. And I know now that that was a shaman's staff.